Hello and welcome to the Wendell Effect. My name is Brandon Wendell. I'll be your guide to my view on the U.S. equity futures index markets going on for this week. And before we kick this off, just to remind you, we're not broker dealers or investment advisors. Going to look at this information from an educational standpoint only. Just not telling you to buy, sell, or hold any particular securities, giving personalized recommendations. All markets do involve risk of loss. It's always a situation. No matter what we do, we can never eliminate the risk. We just try to manage it. And we are also not subject to trading restrictions, so we can have a position in security and initiate one at any time. Please stay in touch with me. You can always email me at brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com if you got any requests, things you'd like to talk about, or any questions you got about what we went over. You can always hit me up on Twitter. I am very active every single day at TraderBdub. And of course, please hit the like and subscribe, as well as the alerts if you're interested. That way you can be notified when we put out new videos. So for the week of June 4th, let's take a look at the equity index futures. And you can see the ES is very, very bullish. We actually did pop above 60 on the RSI, which gives us enough momentum, or signals that we have enough momentum to break through that supply zone and possibly seek out that upper supply near 4,500. So according to what we see here, we're pretty bullish, but this is not the market that's guiding us. The NASDAQ is really driving us higher. When you take a look at the ES, you can see we are definitely accelerating upwards. And again, we got plenty of bullish momentum to break through that supply. It might slow us down the beginning part of the week, but overall it should break. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, we might get a little pullback, and if we do, it's just going to be a small correction. We're stalling just shy of our 4,300 projection and the whole number 4,300. So I expect a possible little pullback, but that'll give you an opportunity to buy. If it does get pretty bearish, I would actually expect it to pull back to about 42.30, right in that little bit of a buying pressure, the origin of that rally. But most likely we're going to get a small pullback before we rally. Again, it's really the NASDAQ that's driving us. You take a look at the beginning of 2023 till now, and the NASDAQ is up 31% for the year, leaving everything else way behind. You see the Dow and the Russell are almost not even moving, and the S&P is up a nice bullish, almost 10%, the annual return that we normally get, but the NASDAQ is just going gangbusters. Now, typically when you get separations like this, it usually leads to a trend change. Back in March, you had a separation that led to sideways movement. So we did have a little correction in the S&P and definitely in the Russell and Dow. That is something that could be coming up very soon. We need the NASDAQ, which is the leading market, to fall first. And we happen to be at a weekly supply. However, we've got plenty of bullish momentum, so we could break through that supply zone. But this may hinder us a little bit and cause a little bit of sideways movement for at least a week or two. Looking at the daily chart, you can see we stalled at each of these Fibonacci extension targets, and we may try to move to the next one, but we still have that overhead supply in the way first that could cause a little bit of sideways movement, maybe a slowing of the upward move. And that may be enough to see the Dow and the Russell, which were weaker, pull back a little bit as well. But overall, still very bullish unless the market tells me something different. Well, speaking of something different, again, we got that daily supply zone. Notice we made higher highs, but we're losing momentum on the 4-hour time frame. So that's why I'm expecting a possible little pullback first, but overall, we're going to be at least sideways, if not slightly bullish by the end of the week. I just don't see this turning bearish as of yet. There's no catalyst for it economically as well as technically so far. But there are some warning signs out there. We are getting a little weak. So while we might see some bullish moves, it could be a little choppy the beginning part of the week. The Dow on the weekly chart, as I mentioned, the momentum is just sideways for this year as well as overall. It's just moving sideways, no momentum. So looking at the daily chart, we did pop off a little bit of daily demand, but we have overhead supply. We are not yet in bullish territory yet, so it is a little bit weak as we're trying to get above 60. If we can, we'll break through that supply. And again, it's based on the NASDAQ rallying as well. It'll take everything with it. Looking at the 4-hour chart, the Dow looks pretty strong still, but what goes perpendicular up like that, what usually goes parabolic up like that usually comes down pretty quick. We had that before, and it wasn't even that steep. So that kind of a move, it's like a bottle rocket. It goes up, then pops and drops pretty quick. So I would not be surprised to see a pullback before he tests that 34,000 supply zone. Looking at the Russell, this is also a weak index. You can see we're just stuck in a range between 2,000 and 1,700, basically. It's going back and forth and getting even weaker right now for the past several weeks. Looking at the daily chart, we got some underlying bullishness where we didn't close below 40 on the RSI. We started popping up, and we finally broke out We did get into bullish territory, so we could get a run up to this supply, but with all that overhead supply, this market really wants to drop. And if the NASDAQ starts to find weakness, look for shorting opportunities here on the Russell. That's where it'll be. Same thing on the 4-hour, just like we saw on the Dow. A parabolic move to the upside usually leads to a pretty fast move back down as well. And if we're going to bounce, we could get a bounce here at about 1770 or 1730. If the market continues to show strength, we could run up to 1885. But again, this is the best bet for a shorting opportunity as it is the weakest index. So if things start to turn sideways in the NASDAQ, look for shorting opportunities here, targeting that 1730 initially, if not even lower. So that's what I got for this week in the equity markets. Whoop, moved too fast there. If you want to stay in touch with me, again, you can email me, BrandonWendell.cmt@gmail.com, @TraderBdub on Twitter, and please hit the like and subscribe as well as the alerts so you can get notified when we got new videos coming out on a weekly basis. I want to thank you all for being here and spending a little time with me. Until next time, trade safe, trade well, and take care.